Hello, everybody. This is Michael Reeves, and today we are going to broadcast live a semifinal game here in Summer Sprint. Ron Martin with Pittsburgh, with 11 wins in the regular season against 6 losses, will take on Lincoln County, who is coached by Tom Cook, and he finished with 10 wins and 7 losses. We've had 2 playoff winners that have made their way to the semifinals. And that would be Seattle, coached by Dennis Crowley, and me, Michael Reeves, who has now made it to my first summer sprint quarterfinal in a game that was played this afternoon. And so this is game number 3. We have one more game here in the semifinals to complete, and that will be this evening. And we're waiting for the 2 teams to join up here. So Chico's is left, and they will be hosting Wisconsin tonight. Wisconsin won their opening round games. 10 teams made the playoffs this year. 7, 8, 9, and 10 faced off with each other. And then that created the semifinal group of 8. Seattle was able to knock off Dunedin. The Ohio Bobcats weathered the storm of 173 yards for a all-world running back Neil Anderson, but was able to pull it out late with a touchdown with a couple of minutes remaining to win 14-10. So this is game number 3. And again, Ron Martin is the coach of Pittsburgh, and he is facing off against Lincoln County. So let's try to connect here again. I'm having a little bit of trouble getting this connection. So I've sent a note to the 2 because for whatever reason I'm not connecting, but I'm sure we'll get in here momentarily. There we are. Okay. All right. I just wanted to let both coaches know that I was in. I think I had a little bit of a typo there as I made my way in. So let's go ahead and open up a few items here so we could keep track of who's doing what. And there's your player card in the lower right-hand corner. And in the upper right-hand corner, we'll keep track of statistics as we go. So it looks like Tom Cook in Lincoln County with 10 wins. Is taking over 1st and 10 at their own 20. That's Vinny Testaverde in the shotgun. Sidecar right, that is Roger Craig. He's going with a 4-wide set. Let's see if we can pick off who exactly this wide receiver set is. Well, that's Mark Ingram. So I assume that must be the New York Giants set. Craig from San Francisco. We look at his line here. We've got a 6 and another 6 and a 5 at center, a 4 and a 4. A little bit of trouble there as far as pass blocking is concerned. His line is below average. And with this 4-wide set, he becomes a little bit more vulnerable to that pass rush. Here's an inside draw. Defense guesses run. The draw play guessed right. In a 3 or 4 wide set, that player is automatically keyed. So Craig loses a yard on the play. And it's now 2nd down and 11, ball at the 19. Three wide set. This time this is a deep shot. Pass is incomplete. So you can see on Vinny Testaverde's card, even guessed right. A long gain on 7, 5, and 3. That's a pretty dangerous card. So 12 units of guessed right out of 36. A 1 in 3 shot of long passes being completed if, of course, he can keep that pass rush at bay. So let's see what Ron has here as far as pass rush. He has 1 outside linebacker at 10. Nothing for his middle linebacker. And the right outside linebacker is only a 6. Three-3-5 set. And that play goes for only 2 yards. Flat pass to Roger Craig, who's a good back out of the backfield as far as receiving is concerned. He only picks up 2 on the play, and it's 3 and out for Lincoln County. So Pittsburgh will take over with good field position at their own 43 here in this summer sprint semifinal contest. We are replaying the 1989 NFL campaign. So under center for Ron Martin, we have Boomer Esiason. And that's Bengals Eddie Ball and Vi Sikahema. Steve Largent and Benny Blade, Seattle Seahawks wideouts. And that's Rodney Holman, a very dangerous tight end from the Cincinnati Bengals. Here's a crossing pattern pass that falls incomplete. So Esiason misses on his first attempt. That was intended for Steve Largent. The Hall of Fame wide receiver, longtime Seattle Seahawk, and one-time congressman from the great state of Oklahoma, I believe. Lincoln County comes out in a 3-4. 5-5-4 up front. Good linebacker set there with a 6, 5, and 5. He's got a 0 as well. Correctly double team. Boomer Esiason's pass falls incomplete. Pass was intended for Rodney Holman. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 10. This year's Summer Sprint League included 18 teams, so we played a 17-game schedule. Everybody plays everybody once. I accidentally wiped out the previous season statistics, so I'm not sure exactly how these two teams fared. We do play with home field advantage until the championship game. There is a slight advantage to playing home. It's mostly reflected in the long gain chart. The long gain charts, the long gains are going to be better for the home team as opposed to the road team. But other than that, there's really not much of an advantage. So Ron Martin, 11-6 on the season. Against Lincoln County. Lincoln County at 10-7. No men in the zone. That's going to be a pickup of 30 on the play. So a nice call by Ron Martin. That pass from Esiason to Rodney Holman in a vacated zone. No men in that flat pass zone. He picks up 30 on the play, and that's a 1st down. So we do play with some of the advanced rules, and some of the advanced rules we do not. Nice double team call again there from Tom Cook. Esiason's pass falls incomplete. That one again was headed for Steve Largent. That's 2 double teams correct so far for Lincoln County. We do not play with the sorry, I'm trying to think of it here. The rule boy, I'm just really tangled up here. The for lack of a better word, it's the one where you don't get a sack, basically, and you can quarterback feels the dump off rule. Sorry about that. I'm still not quite up to speed. I played a game this morning in this playoff game, and I'm still not got my mind wrapped around that. I'm very excited to make this Final Four, and hopefully I can put that aside and put together a good broadcast here. But that's the dump off rule. We don't play with the dump off rule. We play with the rules basically made for this era, which is 1989. So after that 2-yard gain, it's now 2nd down and 8. Esiason's going to scramble. He'll pick up 4 on the play on that must run. So you can see his must run column on the right. He dials up a 7. That's a 7-yard gain. So that's an above average must run card, slightly above average. 4th and 4 here at the 21. And Pittsburgh's going to draw first blood on that kick from Pete Stoyanovich. And Pittsburgh takes the early lead as that kick sails into the end zone. Lincoln County deciding whether or not they're going to take it back. And they do, and it's a great decision. A 57-yard return. "57-yard return for Gray." And so Lincoln is back in business on their second drive. They went 3 and out on their first attempt, but now they have the ball at the Steelers' 45. So back to the 4-wide set that we saw in the first series. Here's a crossing pattern pass, and that'll be good for 19. Guessed wrong. It was on the receiver card, and that was hauled in by Clark, Robert Clark. So first down for the Lettermen. They have the ball at the 26-yard line of Pittsburgh. Very early in the first quarter. 8:42 to go. Pittsburgh on their first drive put 3 on the board. Lincoln trying to answer. Here's an off-tackle run to the right for no gain. The tackle was unable to make the block on that play. It's now second down and 10. Back to the 4 wide set for the Letterman. And here comes a sideline pass. Defense guesses pass. That'll pick up 7 on the play. It's now third down and 3. That pass was to Phillips, his first catch of the game. That'll bring up third and 3 with the ball at the 19-yard line. Halfway through the first quarter of this semifinal Summer Sprint 1989 Retro League game, Tom Cook, who coaches Lincoln County, up against Ron Martin and Pittsburgh. So now we go back to the traditional pro set formations. That means you've got a running back and a fullback, both capable of carrying here. And that is Christian Okoye. I believe that's his first appearance of the game. Ron Martin in the 3-4. Defense guesses run. It's a crossing pattern pass, but it falls incomplete on Testaverde's card. And it's now fourth down and 3 from the 19. So Lincoln County will line up for a 36-yard field goal attempt, and it is good. That is Chris Barr, who puts it through, and he is not at the game at 3 here in the first quarter, just under 7 to play. And that that kick sails into the end zone, and that will be a touchback, which means that we will have to log out and then log back in. For a touchback that I could recall that was in the game. Now, of course, our game won't break up. It's just a spectator bug that has plagued this game seemingly since day one. And again, hopefully they will fix it in this upcoming new version, which will be out in just a couple of weeks. So everybody's really excited about that. We're all eagerly anticipating the ratings disc as well as we get ready for our fall drafts. So we will pick up the action here, first and 10 with the ball at the Lincoln County 47. So we missed a couple of plays there. We'll try to anticipate that a little bit better moving forward. Pro set formation. That's by Sikahama and Tim Worley from the Steelers in the backfield. Esiason under center. Defense with the 3-4. And there's a quick pass that falls incomplete. Now second and 10. Ron Martin's Pittsburgh club finished with 11 wins this year. Lincoln County with 10. The way our format rolls in this league, basically with 8 semifinal teams remaining, the top club in the league, which was Seattle this year, coached by Dennis Crowley. He had 14 wins, and he had the opportunity to pick his opponent. He did so by choosing Dunedin. Ohio, myself, I finished second, and against my better judgment, I took on Erie. Was able to limp past them this morning. So the third selection belonged to Jay Villing and his Chico's club has selected Butch, who is coaching Wisconsin, and that leaves Pittsburgh as the number 4 seed to select whoever was remaining, and that would be Lincoln County. So these are two premier, longtime Stratomatic coaches. Should be a good one. Early on, it's a defensive battle here with just 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Both clubs knotted at 3. So 3 wide set for Ron Martin. So that means Pete Stanzi takes the field. Now Blades is in the slot. 3-3-5. They are not showing blitz. Esiason with Vi Sikahema to his right in the shotgun. And here comes a square out pass that is good, but it only picks up 6 yards. So Ron Martin potentially anticipating blitz there, did not get it. There was a man in the zone, pickup of 6 on the play, and it's now 4th down and 5. So here comes the kick. He's going to try to pin him deep, and just sails into the end zone for a touchback. Lincoln will take over for their 3rd possession of the game. First possession was a 3 and out. Their second possession ended in a field goal. So good stop for Lincoln County. They'll take over at their own 20. Game knotted at 3. Lincoln County with 10 wins this year. Pittsburgh with 11. Here's a sideline pattern. It is going to be good for 6 yards. And that was Johnson's first reception. So 6 yards for Johnson. It's now 2nd down and 4. So that is Vance Johnson, it looks like. Is that right? So the thing I like about these retro leagues is it starts talking about my era. Basically, I was 19 when these games were played, and it's kind of like my football cards coming to life. But, there are still some players here that I don't quite recognize. Most of them you do by their last name, but you kind of have to do a little bit of clicking here. That is a pass attempt, and Testaverde is pulled down in the backfield for a loss of 2. I believe that's the first time that Testaverde has gone down to a sack. It's now 3rd and 6, so it's a manageable 3rd down. Certainly flat pass is in play. Maybe even off tackle draw to Okoye. That's a possibility. So 3rd down and 6 with the ball at the 24. Pittsburgh is looking for their 2nd 3 and out of the game. Defense 4-3. And here is a run up the middle for Okoye, but the center is not able to make the block. And Lincoln County will turn it over on downs. So Pittsburgh should come out with pretty decent field position here. 43-yard punt. And here comes the return. And yes, they will have good field position. That is a 15-yard return for Vi Sikahema. Now let's see. At the time, who did Sikahema play for? I remember he played for the Eagles. And that's it. Philadelphia Eagles. So Pittsburgh again with good field position. Ball at their own 47 as we've now entered into the second quarter. Knotted at 3. And there's a big play sack for Lincoln County on a deep shot attempt. The intended receiver was Largent. But Esiason is dragged down in the backfield for a loss of 6 on the play. Sack was credited to Sims. And that's Kenneth Sims. So that's the Seattle Seahawks front line. That's Sims' first sack of the game. So 2nd down and 16, pro set formation. That's Eric Ball again in the backfield. Here comes an up the middle draw to Eric Ball, and that's a nice carry of 7 for the play. So now we have a manageable 3rd down and 9 for Ron Martin, head coach of Pittsburgh. He sends out his 3 wide set. That's him in the backfield. Esiason is going to be in the shotgun on this play. The defense will counter with a 3-3-5, not showing blitz. Blades is guarded by a 6, probably the lead receiver for Pittsburgh. Largent is covered by a 4. And Stancy, the 3rd wideout, is also covered by a 4. Here's a pass attempt to Blades. Lincoln has 4 in the short pass zone, and the pass falls incomplete. So Pittsburgh will turn it over on downs. And again, try to pin Lincoln County deep. Here's a punt. The last punt sailed into the end zone. This time, Lincoln County will take over at the 13. So with 10 minutes to go here in the first half, Lincoln and Pittsburgh knotted at 3. This game has some similarities to the game that I played this morning against the Erie Silence. We were knotted at 3 for quite some time. The game finished 14-10. It was a defensive struggle pretty much throughout. It was an excellent game, and Tom Cook was able to put together a nice broadcast. I listened to most of it, and I'll listen to the rest of it tonight, but he always does such a good job with these broadcasts. There's a 3-yard pickup on the play on 1st down. It's Roger Craig. Neither team has been able to do very much on the ground so far. Craig has 3 carries for 2 yards. Okoye is in the backfield with Craig. And here's a sweep. This one is going to Okoye, and he's going to pick up some yards here. That's a 1st down, a 9-yard tally on the play, and we will move the chain. So now it's 1st and 10 at the 24 of Lincoln County, the Letterman. Knotted with Pittsburgh, 3-3. The winner will make it to the Summer Sprint Final 4. Seattle and Ohio have already punched their tickets tonight. We'll see if Chico's bail bondsman or the Wisconsin Badgers will make it to the Final 4. Four wide set. We've seen a lot of that early on here for Lincoln County. You do have that risk, though. And they are bringing the heat here. There's nobody in the zone. They can't get to the quarterback. That's a 10-yard pickup and a 1st down. You play that 4 wide set, and you do leave yourself vulnerable to sacks, and they do have some decent pressure guys here. You've got a 12 asterisk rusher here on the right. You have a 10, on the left, and a 10 on the right, an 11 from the outside, and a 10 from the outside. And they are bringing everybody on this play, and this time he is hauled down. So Testaverde is sacked for the 2nd time in the game, but it's not a big loss. It's only 5. So 2nd down and 15 from the 29. Back to the 4 wide set. So Ron Martin has been leaving his flats and basically sending everybody but the kitchen sink to put some heat on Testaverde. Here's another bomb, and that pass is going to fall incomplete. Pass was intended for Vance Johnson. And that'll bring up third down and 15. So the cornerback was able to make the play. 29-yard gain if he wasn't able to. It's now third and 15. So let's see how much. I don't think it's a question of if he will. It's how much heat is Ron Martin going to bring on this play. 3-3-5 set, 4 wides once again. It's an off-tackle draw to Okoye. He's able to pick up a few yards there, 12, but he stopped short. It's now fourth down and 3, but that'll give Lincoln County a little bit more breathing room on this punt. Decent kick, 41 yards. Let's see if this is Visikahema on the return. It is, but he calls fair catch. So Ron Martin will take over at his own 18-yard line. For the most part, he's had excellent field position thus far in this game, a couple times very close to midfield when he took over possession. But in this case, he's pretty deep in his own territory. 12-18 to go here in the first half. Both clubs knotted at 3. Making sure the broadcast is going okay. There's Jay and Mike. How you guys doing? Hope you guys are having a great day. 1-yard pickup on the play. That was Sikahema's first carry of the game. It's second down and 9. Running clock. 11:42 to go. There's a nice pickup of 9. And with the box in play, that's another pickup of 10, so a 19-yard carry for Tim Worley. So that'll move the chains to the 37. Pro set formation. Here comes a toss sweep to Ball, but he is stopped for no gain as the tackle was unable to make the play. He needed to be elite. He was just mediocre. So second down and 10. 10:30 on a running clock. Pro set formation again. We've seen that for the majority of the first half here for Ron Martin. 3-4 set for Lincoln County. Again, you can see a couple of 6s. Free safety, and Blades is covered by a 6, but you've got a couple of 4s, so there's opportunity there. Esiason's pass is good, but only for 2 yards. That was Sikahema's first catch of the game. It's now third down and 8. So 3 wide set, shotgun. Sikahema is in the backfield. Here's a pass that once again falls incomplete, so Ron Martin will punt this ball right back to Lincoln County. So neither of these clubs have been able to show very much offensively. And that's a deep kick, but Pittsburgh, respecting the return man for Lincoln County, decides to kick this one out of bounds. The punt then travels 35 yards. And so Lincoln County will take over at their own 25 with 9 minutes to go here in the first half. 3-3. The winner punches their ticket to the Summer Sprint 1989 Retro Season Final Four. Back to the 4 wide set. Here's a deep shot. That pass is going to fall incomplete. Pass was intended for Johnson. It's now second down. Correctly double teamed by Ron Martin. Nice call. 4 wide set. Defense counters 3-4. So let's see if Ron is going to use some of those linebackers to do a little double team action here. And there is a bomb to Richard Lewis, but that time he's going to be sacked. And that is the first sack for Williams, the third time that Testaverde has gone down today. It's now 3rd and 19. So Tom Cook, go big or go home, basically. He's been throwing bombs left and right, hoping that one of them will stick. But thus far, he's been unable to get much going on that card. Been the victim of 3 sacks so far. 1 in 3 shot guessed right if you hit it on Testaverde's card. He's just not been very lucky so far. But he's going to continue with that strategy, and he may have to do it again here. There's not very in the playbook you can count on. 3 wide set. And now we have an interesting formation, an I formation out of that 3 wide set. So let's see if Ron just keeps people at home. He counters with a 3-3-5, so that puts 4 people in the short pass zone, and you've got your 5 back there at free safety. Here's an off-tackle draw. Guessed wrong. He's going to pick up 5, so a little bit of breathing room here for their punter, but it's once again 4th down, and Lincoln County will punt. And this is just a very average kick that will be fielded at the 50 by Sikahema, who's going to call fair catch, and Ron is certainly fine with that. Actually, they will take over once again with very good field position. The 3rd time in the game that they have taken over close to midfield. This time they're at their own 48 with 7.5 to go here in the 2nd quarter of this summer sprint semifinal game between Pittsburgh, who finished with 11 wins this year, against Lincoln, who finished with 10. And that is a 2-yard loss for Tim Worley as he's dropped behind the backfield. 4 carries so far for him for 17 yards. So this is a good old-fashioned slobber knocker. Both teams playing very, very good defense so far. And one would expect it's going to be that way for the rest of the game. So what's going to turn the momentum here? Is it going to be a Testaverde bomb, a turnover? We'll see. But early on, both the teams are very cautious. Especially Pittsburgh. 2nd down and 12. Pro set formation. Lincoln County is showing blitz on this play. But here's a quick pass to Holman. And that pass falls incomplete as the linebacker in the zone was able to make the play. It required a 5. Good enough to make that play. 3rd down and 12. So Martin would hate to think that he'd have great field position like this at the 48 and have to go 3 and out once again. But he's staring at long odds here. 3rd and 12. The nice thing about this set is the receiver cards seem to have more yardage than those in the modern game. And if you look back then, leading receivers would get 15, 16, 17, 18 yards per catch. It's not that way. Today's modern game is more about West Coast and air raid sort of concepts. And there is a deep shot for Sikahema, and the pass falls incomplete. So Ron Martin, who took over at his own 48, will be forced to punt once again. Good defense from Lincoln County. And they're going to try another coffin corner kick. He will kick this out of bounds, and that is a good one. So Lincoln County again will take over at their own 10. So back and forth we go. If you like punting, this is your game. So go back and replay this broadcast again and again and share it with your friends. 6 minutes to go. Lincoln County takes over at their own 10. Pro set, 3-4 countered by Ron Martin. You got a 4-5-4 up front with linebackers 5, 5, 6, and then a 0 on the outside. Let's see if maybe he goes a little bit conservative here and starts to run. And here it is on that first play. It is a run for Okoye, but he is stopped immediately for no gain, bringing up 2nd down and 10. That play to get 5 yards would have required a tight end at a 6 running blocking, and his tight end only has a 4 run block, so that play goes for no gain. 2nd down and 10. 5:42 on a running clock. Lincoln and Pitt knotted at 3. There's a deep shot again to Johnson. That pass falls incomplete. Testaverde so far 5 of 10 for 44 yards. I think it's fair to say every one of those incompletions were bombs. But you can't harm him in trying. You see that nice long gain on 7. Good pickup on 3 and 5. So that's 12 units out of 36. So 1 and 3 of these got to go. 1 and 3 of them got to go. Third and 10. Ron has a stop here. He once again will have good field position, you'd have to think. And of course, he needs to capitalize on it. Here's an off-tackle run, guessed wrong for Okoye, but he's only able to pick up 3 on the play. And so once again, Lincoln County will turn the ball over. And that's another poor kick. This one's going to be actually inside of the 50. Sikahema fields it. And again, it's another fair catch, but even better field position now for Ron Martin. So let's see if he can capitalize on this. He will take over at the Lincoln County 43. That's the second consecutive punt of only 30 yards. Another hallmark of this card set, punting averages have gone up tremendously in the NFL. In this NFL, basically your average punter, the 7 reading, obviously is the number that you're going to see more often than not, averages about 41 or 42. And they do tend to have a lot of shanks in this, even on 11s. That was a 30-yard pass. That was a deep shot, but the pass falls incomplete. Just missed that 27-yard pickup. So it's now 2nd down and 10. The pass was intended for Benny Blades, who is being guarded by a 6. Esiason with the first half he'd love to forget. 4 of 13 for 44 yards. Neither team has turned the ball over, but neither team has been able to make any momentum whatsoever on offense. Here is a sweep to Tim Worley, but it's only a pickup of 1. So you look at that guessed wrong card, my goodness gracious. Guessed wrong end run, a 3, a 0, and a +1 on your highest rolls. My goodness gracious. Of course, you got your short gain on 9, and there's a 35-yard pick. If you're tuning in and wondering how we came up with these teams, we'll talk about that as we go on. Again, this was an 18-team league, so we played 17 games. And we had a draft in which we drafted units, not players. And so you're going to win some in some of your units, and in some, when you're drafting late, you're going to get what basically is the bottom of the barrel. Here's a 3rd down pass that again falls incomplete. So Ron Martin, who has had field position around the 40 on both sides of the 40, has capitalized only one time as Lincoln County has been able to stiffen up on defense, and they do so once again. And that punt barely crosses the goal line and into the end zone. He almost pinned him in at the 1 just by a couple of yards. That would have been an amazing coffin corner kick that would have given Lincoln possession at the 1. And the way these teams are moving right now, he'd be in jeopardy of a safety. We could have ended up with a 5-3 lead at the half, but instead Lincoln County will take over at their own 20 with 3 minutes to go here in the first. 4 wide set. That's Okoye in the backfield. Testaverde is under center. You'll lose a tick on every one of those players run blocking, but when you have 2 6s over there at left tackle and left guard, it only drops them to a 5. And so on that play, Okoye runs, but it's anticipated by Ron Martin, who called pass but put one of his middle linebackers in the linebacker zone and was able to make that stop. So now it's 2nd down and 11. Neither team chooses to call timeout there. So 2:24 to go on a running clock here in the second quarter. There's a deep shot Successful double team on Johnson, and the pass falls incomplete. Another bomb. So that's several correct double teams by Ron Martin, who's anticipating that bomb to Johnson. It's a decent guessed right long pass card, so it makes sense to look his way. Plus, he's guarded by a 0, so he's got that. He's always adding help over there to babysit a little bit. Not one to take a chance on that defender reading. Now we're going the other direction. Here comes a bomb to Mark Ingram, and that pass falls incomplete. And so we will see another punt from Lincoln County. This punt is fielded by Visikahema at his own 37. And he's going to have a very, very strong return of 23 yards. What a valuable return card. Look at all those double-digit returns for Sikahema, especially on those juicy 7, 8, and 9 readings. That's outstanding. So not to beat a dead horse here, but good field position once again for Ron Martin, this time taking over at the 41-yard line of Lincoln County. Desperately trying to put some points on the board, trying to take advantage of this excellent field position. Here comes a pitch out that is good for only a yard. So Visikahema, as valuable as he is as a returner, not so much today on the ground. 2 carries, 2 yards. Worley has not been able to get it going either. Lincoln chooses not to call timeout. So 1:22 to go. Ball now at the 40-yard line. Pete Stoyanovich warming up on the sidelines, hoping that Ron can figure out a way to get this thing inside of at least the 35. So 2nd down and 9. Might we see something to Holman here? Maybe Largent. And here comes an end run for Boomer Esiason. So he says, you know what? The running backs can't get it done, but I can. And so good call by Ron Martin as he picks up 9. So that's one of 2 end runs for Boomer Esiason. And so he decided to punch his ticket a little early. But it turned out to be a good call. So now it's 3rd and 1, ball at the 32. So defense goes to 3-3-5 here, even though Pittsburgh did not send a 3rd wide receiver out there. So here comes a run for Tim Worley, and he just barely nudges the ball over the line, and that will move the chains. And Martin will call timeout here. So with 52 seconds to go, it's 1st and 10 with the ball at the 31. So they definitely are in field goal range at this point, but they'd like to get it a little bit closer to give Stoyanovich a better chance to give Pittsburgh the lead here at the half. The game is knotted at 3. Lincoln County, 10 wins on the season. Pittsburgh, 11 wins. Pro set formation, defense in the 3-3-4. And here comes a bomb to, that was a short pass to Blades and just missed an interception. 2-4 and 12. White die 5 reading. So that pass falls incomplete. So a sigh of relief for Ron Martin. who is edging ever closer to an opportunity to take the lead here at the half of this very low-scoring competition here. Knotted at 3 between Lincoln County and Pittsburgh. The hometown Steelers have the ball at the Letterman 31 with 45 seconds to go. Clock is stopped after that incompletion. 3-4 set for Lincoln County. They do have safety coming up for a potential blitz. Pro set formation for Pittsburgh. They sure would be feeling a lot better about themselves if they could just figure out if one of these running backs could just do something. But neither one of them had been able to get off the schneid. In fact, Boomer Esiason is going to enter the half as the leading rusher for the club. That pass falls incomplete, so it's going to set up a 3rd down and 10 with 37 seconds left to go. So does Ron try for this 1st down, or does he? It's hard though for him to come up with a run here that he knows he can get 4 or 5 yards because the running game has been so inconsistent this first half. I can't imagine him burning another run call here on Esiason. That's Eddie Ball now in the backfield. Now, he has a pretty decent running card, but as I recall, I think he has a little bit of a high fumble number. So let's see if we see maybe an end run to Ball. Tom might bring up one of those linebackers. An off-tackle draw to Ball. He is able to pick up a couple on the play. And so Lincoln will call timeout here. So it's now 4th down and 8 with the ball at the 29. So this will be a 46-yard field goal attempt for Pete Stojakovic. And here we go. So will Pittsburgh take the lead before the half? And the answer is no. That kick is going to sail wide to the left. And so Lincoln County will now take over with 2 timeouts remaining in 22 seconds at their own 29. So 2 through 6 and 11 and 12 for Stojakovic. And there was no, we do play with variable field goal length here, but it wasn't in effect at all. He just flat out missed it. So 2 through 6, 11 and 12 from 46 yards out. That's basically a coin flip. But in this case, it came up tails. So 4 wide set once again. Here is an off-tackle draw that's not going to go anywhere. So that's a run for Okoye. 8 carries so far for 29 yards. Will Lincoln County call timeout? They do. They have 1 remaining, 15 seconds to go here in the half. Pittsburgh has 2 of their timeouts remaining, but it's really not going to matter. There's, in essence, 3 plays left in this half, or maybe even 2, depending on what Lincoln County does here. In other words, if Pittsburgh is able to stop them on the next 2 plays, chooses to call timeout, basically there'll be 1 second left, which won't leave them any time to do anything. There's a run for Okoye, who goes out of bounds. So no timeouts were taken for either club. But again, it's not going to matter. I would think that at this point, Lincoln's probably just going to take a knee and then take another knee and go into the half. But he does come out with 4 wide, so maybe he's choosing to go deep here. Fingers crossed that we don't see a sack, fumble, or an interception. Okoye doesn't have any long gains on his card, so I don't see him doing anything here. Off tackle draw. Pickup of 4 on the play, so it's now 4th and 6. And neither team will call timeout, as they know with 1 second the half is pretty much over. So that is where we have landed. We have come to halftime in this defensive struggle, 3-3, Lincoln County and Pittsburgh. The winner looking to punch their ticket to the Summer Sprint Retro 1989 Final Four. Dennis Crowley and Michael Reeves with Seattle and Ohio are already there, and tonight we will find out the 4th club. That's Jay Villing, and he'll be taking on Butch. And Jay is with Chico's Bail Bondsman. Wisconsin is the coach. Wisconsin is the club that Butch has, who won 9 games this year. Chico won 12. So the two clubs are conversing. Let's see if they choose to take a little break, or if they're going to go straight away. While we do that, we'll take a look at the quote-unquote first half stats. 5 of 12 for Vinny Testaverde for 44 yards. Boomer Esiason, 4 of 16 for 44 yards. 10 carries for the Nigerian Nightmare, Christian Okoye, for 32 yards. 6 carries for 19 yards for Tim Worley. Probably the primary stats we want to look at, or the MVPs of the first half, would be, I have no clue how in the word even pronounce that, Hank Elizik, but we may be handing him the game ball. 6 punts in the first half. Reggie Roby with 5 punts. There's Mel Gray with his 57-yard kick return, and that eventually led to Lincoln County's first score, or it certainly was a contributing factor. Lincoln County will kick off here in the second half. And the two clubs are conversing. And so Visikahema, who early on will be my vote for MVP, there's a 23-yard return. Although you'd have a hard time taking that MVP award away from one of those two punters. I was going to mention to both of them, this looks like a game straight out of the 20s. This broadcast is coming today from Ashland, Kentucky. My kitchen, to be exact. But this region in which I grew up has a rich history in professional football. We'll talk about that here on this drive. 1st and 10 for Pittsburgh, who will take over at their own 38. At least 5 possessions that I can recall in the first half, Pittsburgh took over anywhere between their own 40 and the Lincoln County 40, but was unable to come up with points except on one occasion, basically. Lincoln County, on the other hand, has not had very good field position at all throughout this contest. But the one time they did score, it was helped along by a 57-yard kick return by Mel Gray. They gave them the ball at the Pittsburgh 45. A few plays later, they knotted the score at 3, and that's where we stand. So Ron Martin will come out in his pro set offense. And here is a deep shot, and that pass is going to go incomplete. Benny Blades, the intended receiver, the defender 6, was able to make the play. So if that pass goes to Largent, that pass is complete. But Largent isn't much of a deep threat. That's Don Griffin, who is a 6. So we have a couple of spectators that have joined. Make sure our broadcast is going good. Jay and Mike are still here. Here's a pass attempt over the middle. That falls incomplete. Esiason now 4 of 16 on the afternoon. That pass was intended for Largent. Falls incomplete, so it's 3rd down and 10. So a good double team call there from Lincoln. Had he not done that, that would have been a short gain. So can Lincoln's defense once again pull a rabbit out of the hat? They've been exquisite here on 3rd down, but this time, finally, they break through, and on a receiver reading to Hall of Famer Steve Largent, he picks up 13 on the play. Double teamed on the previous play. This time he's able to shake free for 13 and move the sticks for Pittsburgh. And that's something we haven't heard from either one of these two clubs in the first half. So maybe the second half we'll see a little bit more offense as Pittsburgh has made their way into Lincoln territory at the 49. 1st and 10. That's Eric Ball, the former UCLA Bruin, in the backfield. Here's another pass attempt, and that's good for 17 yards. Pass caught by Eric Ball. And so now they have it at the 32-yard line. So Pittsburgh has spent a fair amount of time in Lincoln County territory, but has been unable to capitalize. They have a missed field goal in this game. So they are looking for their 3rd scoring opportunity. That pass falls incomplete. It was intended for Rodney Holman, who does have 2 catches in this game for 36 yards. 6 of 21 now for Esiason for 74 yards. Pro set formation. We have Tim Worley in the backfield now, joining Vi Sekahema. And here is a pitch out. It goes absolutely nowhere to Sekahema. 3 carries for 3 yards now. That's a yard on the play. Tom Cook brought a linebacker up in the zone, and it's now 3rd and 9. Defense back in the pro set. This time they go to the I. Thought maybe there'd be a possibility we could see Esiason run here, but he's in the shotgun, so that's not going to happen. Not an end run, at least. Pretty much the same setup with Blades and Largent at wideout, Rodney Holman at tight end, Sekahema and Worley are in there. Stoyanovich already missed one from this range. 2 through 6, 11, and 12 on his card. It's pretty much a coin flip from this distance. So you have to think Ron's going to be going for this 1st down rather than trying to move the ball closer. And there is a pass, a flip out 6 yards to Sekahema. It's only going to pick up 6 yards. And so now that'll bring up 4th down and 3 from the 25. And Ron Martin trots Stoyanovich back out onto the field. And this time the kick is good. So 2 through 6, 11, and 12. And he dials up an 11. So it just makes its way over the crossbar. And for the first time in more than 30 minutes, we have a team in the lead. Well, excuse me, Pittsburgh is now lurched back into the lead. However, Lincoln County with another nice return from Mel Gray of 29 yards. So Mel Gray has really helped out this club so far with 2 excellent returns, giving Lincoln County and their letterman a nice place to start from their own 44. 10 minutes to go here in the third quarter. 6-3, Pittsburgh over Lincoln County. Summer Sprint 1989 Retro League. Here's a square in. There is one man in the zone. Nice pickup of 7 on the play. Defense guessed run there. That's a hallmark of some of these receiver cards as well. Look at the long gains guessed wrong on flat passes, on 3, on 12. You see that in the modern game, but it's infrequent. Definitely infrequent. It's kind of a freak card whenever you see long gains. That's only for the elite receivers. Defense guesses right on that run for Christian Okoye. Nice call by Ron Martin. It's now 3rd down and 3. Great call by Ron Martin. Pro set again. Ball at the Pittsburgh 49. Running clock. 9 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Here comes a deep shot. Defense guesses run. That pass. Oh, it falls incomplete. The defender in the zone for 31. White die 4 reading. Free safety able to make the play. Caught Ron Martin off guard. He guessed run. But that pass to Johnson again falls incomplete, so they will turn the ball back over. Here comes the punt. Sekahema will field the ball at his own 7. Let's see what he can do with it. Nice pickup. 15 yards on the play. So they'll take over at their own 22. So Ron Martin dodges a bullet there as Vinny Testaverde gets his first shot that I can recall at a guessed wrong bomb. But in this case, the free safety was able to make the play as he was staying home. And so the Steelers will take over at their own 22. 1st down and 10 with 8:24 to go here in the third. Steelers up 6-3 over Lincoln County. Here's an off-tackle run. Pickup of 1. The ball is fumbled. Who's going to pick it up? Let's see. And we will wait for the animation. It looks like Pittsburgh has recovered. And that is the case. Nate Newton, Dallas Cowboy lineman, was able to pick that one up. Nate Newton, the kitchen, maybe? I seem to recall that was his nickname. Here's a pass that's going to fall incomplete. Pass was intended for Rodney Holman. The defender was able to make the play. Holman is guarded by a 4. White die was 4, so he was just good enough to tip that ball away. 3rd down and 9. Be a big stop for Lincoln right here, because they would expect to have pretty decent field position if they could pin him on this play. So 3 wide set. Let's see if Lincoln's going to flash a safety blitz here if they decide just to stay at home. Nickel 3-3-5. They do show blitz. Pittsburgh doesn't have that flashy running back who can pick up these 9 yards. So they're going to have to look for somebody short or anticipating Pittsburgh sending somebody on the blitz and guessing that right zone. Here is a deep shot, but the pass falls incomplete. Lincoln was bringing some heat. They did leave the right flat pass zone empty, but it's all for naught. Doesn't matter. Lincoln will hold 3 and out, and they will get the ball in seemingly decent field position. That's just an okay kick of 39 yards. And Walter Stanley decides to call fair catch. And so the Letterman will take over at their 38. So back and forth we go. Field position game. 6:54 to go here in the third quarter. Lincoln County trailing Pittsburgh 6-3. Lincoln County has alternated with that pro set and 4 wide set. They're back in the pro set. Defense counters 3-3-4. Defense guesses pass. And there's your run. That's a good pickup of 20 yards on the play for the Nigerian Nightmare, Christian Okoye. Get strong sweep on a 7. That's a short gain, and that's the best short gain you can get. Pickup of 20. And now the Lettermen find themselves 1st and 10 at the Pittsburgh 42. Looking to carve into this very slim 6-3 lead. Okoye starting to pick it up numbers-wise. 12 carries for 52 yards. Guess strong pass. That's 10 yards. Defense gets run on the play. That's to Roger Craig. And it's another first down. So that's something we haven't seen very much of. Back-to-back first downs here in this first half. And the ball now stands at the 32-yard line. Four wide set. Roger Craig all alone in the backfield. Testaverde under center. Defense again with the 3-4. Rather than putting that extra defender, it gives them the ability to send some heat or take one of those outside linebackers and double team. Here's an off-tackle run. Defense guesses run. Wow, good call by Ron Martin. He is able to get 3 on the play. It's now 2nd down and 7. Pro set formation. Craig and Okoye in the backfield. Plenty of carries left for both of them. Fatigue should not be an issue the rest of the way. 5 minutes on a running clock. Ball at the 29-yard line of the Steelers. Lincoln County looking to cut into this 6-3 lead. Ron Martin, Tom Cook. Either one of these clubs are looking to punch their ticket into the Summer Sprint Final Four. And here comes a pass complete. 11-yard pickup on the play to Roger Craig. So Testaverde on his own card. Lots of blanks on that card. Basically, again, Ed Barrow is a good resource as far as figuring out the value of cards. But just from a guessed right, how many passes are you going to complete perspective, that's 11 units of guessed right completions on Testaverde's card, whereas the long pass actually has 12. Now, you have to factor in the must run, but that's an interesting card. Guess wrong, it's only a pickup of 2 on the play for Craig. So it's now 2nd down and 8 as Lincoln County is lurching closer and closer to the end zone. Both of these clubs have only been able to muster a total of 3 field goals so far. But you get the feeling that a touchdown could be the difference. Lincoln began this drive on their own 45, I believe. So good field position once again. That's how their only other score was a field goal, and that came on good field position after a nice kick return by Mel Gray. This time they had a nice punt return. They gave them good field position. Actually, no, that's not true. They took over this one on the 38. That was a fair catch. That's right. So Lincoln County putting it together a good drive here. 3rd down and 8. Pro set formation. Here comes a sideline pass that falls incomplete. So that will mean we will be looking for a 33-yard field goal attempt. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Actually, Jay Billing just sent a note over here to correct me on and we'll look at that here in just a moment. As far as the short and long pass, this was 3rd down, and that pass also falls incomplete. I got a little bit tangled up here in the broadcast. That was actually 2nd down. That was 2 consecutive incomplete passes. So that now will bring up a field goal attempt of 33 yards for Chris Barr. If he hits it, we will be knotted at 6. And it goes through. So Chris Barr has tied it up now at 6 as we have 3 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. After that 21-yard return, Ron Martin and his Pittsburgh Steelers will take over 1st and 10 with the ball at the 24. So as we had mentioned a little earlier, I am broadcasting this from Kentucky, but I was a former resident of a southern Ohio town called Ironton. And one of my Stratomatic teams actually has the name of the Ironton Tanks. That is significant because we had one of the early professional football league teams in the country. And back then, it was a volunteer team. Basically, players worked Monday through Friday and played football on the weekends. And we just so happened to have a club that was recognized nationally as one of the very best. In fact, there was a season as a semi-pro team that we defeated the Chicago Bears and the New York Giants in a single season. Tanks Stadium still stands today. In fact, it is on the campus of Ironton High School, and they continue to play football there to this very day. It is a Ohio historical site. You might want to check it out on Google it and take a look. We now have a field turf surface for the first time in the last couple of years. It's the first time we've had it since it's been a grass field for who knows how long. But we do have a lot of rich history here. Also, just down the road from us, Portsmouth, Ohio, had the Portsmouth Spartans, which was another semi-pro football team that just so happened to have a couple of things in history. They played in one of the first night games ever professionally, and also moved to Detroit and eventually became the Detroit Lions. And there was a pass for 11 yards. That'll be a pickup of 1st down on the play. It was caught by Benny Blades, his 3rd catch for 21 yards. And I'll wrap it up with this. The Thanksgiving game that we have that features the Detroit Lions, that tradition actually started here in the 30s. There's a pass good for 5 yards, 2nd down and 5. Esiason's starting to heat up now, which how difficult would that be for him? 10 for 27, just got to 100 yards. Back in the 30s, 20s and 30s, Ironton Tanks, Portsmouth Spartans, semi-pro football team, had an annual Thanksgiving Day game, the first of its kind, and that's the tradition that we see today was because of the game that the Portsmouth Spartans played back in the 20s and 30s. And again, Portsmouth migrated to Detroit. That's the reason why we see the Thanksgiving game that features Detroit every year. A lot of great history here in Southern Ohio. Here's a square and pass to Largent. That's a pickup of 6, and that's enough to move the chains as the ball is now at the 50-yard line, and we have now reached the fourth quarter of this quarterfinal game between Lincoln and Pittsburgh. Both knotted at 6. Ron Martin and his Steelers have the ball at the 50-yard line. There's a run for Tim Worley, but with a linebacker in the zone, that's a loss of 2 on the play. It's now 2nd down and 12. Worley now 8 carries for 18 yards. So Pittsburgh goes backward on that play. It's 2nd down and 12. Just underway here in the fourth quarter. The winner will punch their ticket to the Final Four of Summer Sprint 1989. Here's an up-the-middle draw that's going to pick up 5 as the left guard is able to make the block on the play. It's now 3rd and 7. That was Worley on the carry. He's having a rough afternoon. 9 carries for 23 yards. He also had a fumble. They didn't lose it. But it's been pretty rough for them running the ball at all. Sekahema now is in the backfield as we have a shotgun. He's riding a sidecar right to Boomer Esiason. 3-3-5 is the counter from Lincoln County. They are not showing blitz on this play. Here's a bomb to Steve Largent, and that pass falls incomplete. Defense double teaming elsewhere, so now it's 4th and 7. So Ron Martin once again will punt. And this is Reggie Roby. And he's going to try to pin them deep, and he will. The ball will land at the 15, so that's where Lincoln will take over, 1st and 10 from their own 15. So Lincoln County will come out again in that 4-wide set. Defense again in that 4-3, not bringing another defensive back up. It's basically my offensive line against your offensive line. Here's a screen pass to Roger Craig. Defender in the zone is able to make the play. It's now 2nd down and 10. So one of the listeners sent a note to me that says I'm not interpreting the card correctly for Vinny Testaverde. I've added the numbers up wrong, so I'm sorry if I've made it sound like a long pass would be more advantageous to a short pass, even roll-wise. Apparently that is not the case, but we'll look at that card here in just a little bit and see where I messed up. Here's a pass to Clark that falls incomplete. So as you can see, he has a 6 and a 7. Guessed right. And we'll look at that long pass card here momentarily. Well, that is if he throws a bomb. We don't want to stop up the game. Because my math is incorrect. Back to that 4-wide set. Roger Craig. Right next to Vinny Testaverde, who's in that shotgun. Defense does counter with 3-3-5 here. And this time he is sacked. It's only a loss of 2 on the play. But in essence, Lincoln will be turning this ball over. And while I hate to repeat myself, Pittsburgh is going to take advantage of this. They're going to be in, again, excellent field position, likely inside of the 50. Here comes Vi Sekahema with the return. Nope, he will have a fair catch. But they will take over at the 46-yard line. 37-yard line. That's been the average possession and average start for Pittsburgh has been at the 37-yard line this game. Wow. And only 6 points to show for it. Credit Lincoln with some great defense today. Not only have they not been breaking, they've not been bending. This has been a command performance on both clubs defensively. No turnovers either. There is a quick out, but the pass falls incomplete, as you can see on Esiason's card. Guessed wrong. Wow. Got that nice blanket 7, unfortunately. So it's now 2nd down and 10 for Pittsburgh. 11:42 to go here in the 4th quarter. Knotted at 6. We've got one more game tonight. Jay Villing and Chico Bail Bondsman up against Wisconsin. And that is Butch. Pro set formation, defense with the 3-3-4. There's a pass that falls incomplete. Pass was intended for Rodney Holman, who only has 2 catches today for 35 yards. So again, 3rd down and 10. So we have 3-4s defending a couple of wide receivers and the tight end. Do we see a pass to, okay, well, there's a timeout called. So the defense calls timeout. So Tom Cook wants another shot at setting up his defense. Back with the 3 wide set. Esiason is in the shotgun here. A little too far out to consider an end run, so he will stay in the shotgun, try to throw his way through this. Defense mauling their options. And they will come out in a 3-3-5, and they are not bringing the blitz on this play from the safety. Safety 4 back there. 4s throughout this defense. So credit Tom with a great defensive game plan today, as he's been able to hold Pittsburgh to only 6 points. Here's a curl pass to Blades. Esiason on the must run. He fumbles. Now we see another fumble. Let's see who takes over. The animation shows Pittsburgh with it initially with a fumble recovery by the line of scrimmage, but apparently they were able to advance it. And with the ball at the 47 and 4th and 3, Ron Martin is not going to risk it, and Roby will go ahead and try to pin them deep. And he will be able to do so. This time, Lincoln County will take over 1st and 10 from their own 9 with 10:48 to go. The game is knotted at 6. So Lincoln County on the road, facing off against Ron Martin and his Pittsburgh Steelers. Martin winning 11 games this year. Lincoln County winning 10. Ron Martin was the 5th seed. Lincoln County, the 6th seed, I believe. 7, 8, 9, and 10 played in the opening round. And that gave us winners of, Wisconsin and Erie. Erie lost today. Wisconsin will play this evening. So the number 1 and number 2 seeds are in. Either the number 5 or the number 6 seed is going to punch their ticket. And later on, the number 3, and I believe Wisconsin was the number 10 seed. So after tonight, we will have the final four. There's a pickup of 6 yards for Okoye. It's second down and 4. Just a little bit over 10 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Game knotted at 6. Just because we have 12 points scored in this game doesn't mean it's been a fun game to watch. It's good when you see two strong, defensive-minded coaches matching wits. There's a button hook pass. Oh, defense guesses run, so that's going to be a nice pickup of 9 on the play. And a first down for Lincoln. They have the ball now at the 24. Nine minutes on a running clock here. Pro set formation for Lincoln County. Pittsburgh counters again with their 4-3. Five, 5, and 5 across linebackers. Off tackle run for Christian Okoye. He's going to pick up some yards on this one. He's going to motor for 14 yards, and that's another first down for Lincoln County with the ball now at the 38. So we haven't seen this formation for a little bit here. Now we've got the 4 wide set again. Christian Okoye back in the backfield. Single back. We've got the 4 wide sets. So again, the counter for Ron Martin throughout has been this 3-4 defense. And he is bringing a lot of heat on this play. There's no man in the zone because of it. He doesn't pay too much of a price, though. It's only a pickup of 7. That pass is completed to Johnson. That's only his second catch. He's had a lot of targets today, but he's only been able to haul in 2. So second down and 3. Martin bringing a lot of heat. And in that vacated zones, you can see 0 man. There's a lot of damage that can be had if you hit the right reading. But in this case, it's only a pickup of 7. So second down and 3. Up the middle run, defense guesses run, but Okoye is able to lumber forward and pick up 3 and another first down for Lincoln County. So 7:12 to go as they are now at their own 49 as they are driving for what they hope to be the winning score and taking a lot of clock off as we speak. We're trying to, at least. Ideally, this would be a drive that munches a lot of clock and puts some points on the board. So Lincoln on the road. And there is a sack. So that is just what the doctor ordered. It's only a 3-yard loss, but still, they're going in the opposite direction, and Ron Martin is super happy about that. So Testaverde goes down. 5 sacks on the day for Ron Martin and his Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's the pro set now. The defense counters 3-3-5 here. As we have 6:54 on a running clock. 2nd and 13, Lincoln with the ball at their own 46. We are tied at 6 here in the 4th quarter. Curl pass to Clark. Dancing between the raindrops there. Defense called run, but a white die 9. Tantalizingly close between the 17 and the 19 and a couple long gains below that. So a bad break for Lincoln. Good call. Just didn't catch the roll. So now it's 3rd and 13. So just when you think Lincoln is putting together a drive and marching down the field, that sack stops momentum. And then a bad dice roll, and now they find themselves in a precarious 3rd and 13. They come out with a 3-wide set here, take the tight end off the field, and they have Roger Craig and Christian Okoye in the backfield. Here's an off-tackle draw to Craig. He's only going to pick up 2 on the play, and that will force another punt. So Ron Martin will take over, pending this kick from the 48. And this is a pretty decent kick. It goes 43 yards, so Sekahema will field this one at his own 9. And let's see what he can do with it. He will pick up 11 on the play. So Pittsburgh will take over at their own 20-yard line with 5:42 to go. The game is tied at 6 here in this summer sprint quarterfinal featuring Ron Martin. 12 wins for Pittsburgh this year against Tom Cook with 11 wins. Not sure who the winner is going to face because Dennis Crowley, 14 wins on the year, now 15 with that playoff win. He will have dibs on the winner of this game, or he may choose to play Ohio, or he may choose to play the winner of Chico's Bail Bondsman and the Wisconsin Badgers. He is in the driver's seat. He can pick whoever he wants, and then the other matchup will be made depending on his selection. Here is a short pass to Worley that falls incomplete. Defender was able to make the play because it was a white die reading of only a 4. So 2nd down and 10. That's the New Orleans linebacker set. Look how strong. 6, 6, 5, 5. And they are bringing everybody on this play. Here comes a sweep to Worley. It's guessed wrong, but there was a linebacker in the zone, and that's a loss of 2. So now it's 3rd down and 12. So Lincoln has a chance with a stop here to have good field position. Clock is moving at 4:48. So if you bet the under, I think you're in pretty good shape. I wouldn't suggest that you go watch something else, but if you're up for double or nothing, you can put your money tonight on Wisconsin and Chico's. So 3-wide set. Here's a bomb to Largent, and he connects 27 yards on Boomer Esiason's card. We finally see a long pass connection on a quarterback card. So a great break for the Steelers as they pick up 27 on the play. 3rd catch of the game for the Hall of Famer Steve Largent. So now the Steelers have it at the 45 with 4:12 remaining. And there's a pitch out to Sekahema. He picks up 5 on the play. They've made their way to midfield. 2nd down and 5. 3:36 to go, running clock. Steelers with it. Knotted at 6 with Lincoln County. Eric Ball is checked into the game for Worley. The Cincinnati Bengals fullback. Selected along with Rodney Holman. So again, if you're listening to this game late, the way we pick our players are through units. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, fullbacks and tight ends, offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, secondary, and am I missing one? Special teams. There you go. Punt return, kick return, and kicker punter. Here is a run, but there is your dreaded 5 guessed wrong. Not a super strong card for Eric Ball either. He does have that 6 short gain. And so once again, Lincoln County has a chance to get Pittsburgh off the field, although it's going to be a little bit more difficult here. 3rd and 6. We have 3 minutes to go. Arguably one of the most important plays of this game. Pittsburgh converts here. They've got a chance to hit the field goal that's going to win the game. Lincoln converts here. Pittsburgh may not get the ball for the rest of this game, and we may be headed to overtime depending on what Lincoln does with their possession. So this play, needless to say, huge. So pro set, defense counters 3-4. Doesn't look like flat pass is going to be an option here. Unless you get lucky and it's on Esiason's card. Such a good core of linebackers there. Will he use one of those linebackers to double team a receiver? Or is he going to bring some heat? He's bringing some heat. Here comes a deep shot to Benny Blades, and it is going to fall incomplete as once again the 6th Griffin is able to make the play. So Ron Martin will turn this ball over on downs, and it'll be up to Reggie Roby once again to pin the letterman deep. And he will do so again. This time the ball will go out of bounds at the 10-yard line. So Lincoln County will take over. 2:24 to go. Now, again, you're staring at a 90-yard field here with a team that's not been able to move the ball effectively for the previous 57 minutes. But you can't take the air out of the ball here either because, again, Ron Martin has all 3 of his timeouts remaining. So a 3 and out here would once again give the Steelers good field position. Here's a quick pass. It's caught, and it's a pickup of 4. And both clubs choose not to take timeout. That'll take it down to the 2-minute warning. Back to the 4-wide set for Lincoln County. They can figure out a way to get a first down here. That'll be huge so they can decide if they want to try to make some noise before the half or perhaps just try to get this thing to overtime. Here comes a Okoye run, and that's a pickup of 6 on the play, and it's now 1st and 10 with the ball at the 20. Will either team elect to call timeout here? They will not. Instead, hurry up offense for Lincoln County. 97 seconds here in the 4th quarter. Game knotted at 6. 3 points for each club in the 1st quarter, 3 points for each club in the 3rd quarter. Scoreless here in the 4th. Lincoln with the ball at the 20. 4 wide receiver set. Defense again stays in the 4-3 off tackle draw for Okoye, and he is going to rumble, young man, rumble. A 35-yard pickup as the nose tackle is unable to make the play. And so Lincoln County is now in business as they have flipped the field. They do not call timeout there. Instead, choose to hurry up, which I kind of find hysterical that you can have a 35-yard run and then line up with 1:15. I'm not sure that's feasible, but what do I know? Here comes a square in pass that is incomplete. Intended for Johnson. It's now 2nd down and 10. 1:07 to go. 4-wide set once again. With the Nigerian Nightmare in the backfield, Okoye, with a huge run that has potentially changed the complexion of this game. It was certainly looking toward overtime, and now if Lincoln can figure out a way to get a first down here, they'll give themselves a chance for a potential game-winning field goal. So 2nd down and 10. Here's a sweep to Okoye. It's guessed wrong, but he's only able to pick up a yard. He is able to make it out of bounds, so that preserves a timeout, but more importantly, he only picked up one on the play. So now it's 3rd and 9. And so a pro set formation. So they trot out both Roger Craig and Okoye on the field. The defense is going to counter with a 4-3 package. So is Tom Cook thinking, maybe he's thinking run here. Maybe he's thinking another toss sweep. Off tackle run to Okoye. Defense guesses pass. But this time the nose tackle is able to make the play. So now it's 4th and 6. Let's see if either one of these two clubs are going to call timeout. They do not. So Lincoln, with 30 seconds to go and 4th and 6 at the 41, he's thinking about it here. And he is choosing to punt. He's just going to play for another day. We're going to go to overtime here. At least that's what he's hoping. So the animation didn't quite reflect it, or it probably did, but you don't often see it. But I like that call. So Tom instead chose to go for it there on a fake kick, but the pass falls incomplete. So Pittsburgh will take over at the 41. They do have all 3 timeouts remaining, so they basically will have 4 plays to get in field goal range with a chance to win. So with 22 seconds to go, here is an up the middle run for 4 yards. And they will call timeout. So now the ball is at the 45. So in essence, 3 plays to go here before overtime. So Lincoln County trying to dial up a little bit of magic with a fake punt. But the attempt fails, and Pittsburgh took over at their own 41 after a 4-yard gain. They find themselves at their own 45, but only 15 seconds remaining, 2 timeouts remaining. So in essence, they have 2 plays plus a kick or 3 plays, barring something really crazy. We've had fumbles in this game, but no turnovers. All the fumbles have been recovered by their respective clubs. No interceptions. Here's a deep shot to Benny Blades, and that is going to be a sack. So let's see what Pittsburgh's going to do here. I would imagine they would just basically let this thing go. It's now 3rd down and 17. Are they going to call timeout here? Or will they just let this go to overtime? Because I doubt Lincoln County. Well, let's see. I guess either one of these 2 clubs could call timeout here, because Lincoln County conceivably could get the ball with a stop here, even if there was only 1 second. And so neither club elected to call timeout. And so we are going to go to overtime unless something completely wacky happens on this last play. Offense comes out with a pro set. Defense counters 3-3-5. Ball at the 34-yard line as we appear to be headed for overtime based on the results of this last play. And there is a fumble on the play. And again, we'll just have to wait for the animation here. See if anything crazy happened. Oh, shoot, nothing. Okay. Thank goodness. You have to wait. You don't know what in the world is happening on any of these plays. The next thing you know, we could have seen 12-6 on the board for either one of those clubs, and this game would have been over with. But it was a fumble. Not sure exactly who recovered. Mark 2 and A, so that would have been that's Dallas Cowboys offensive line. So we are in the middle of a classic, a 6-6 quarterfinal playoff game. The winner will go to the Summer Sprint 1989 semifinals. Ohio and Seattle are awaiting this winner, along with a game that will be played this evening between Chico's bail bondsman and the Wisconsin Badgers. So one would think they scored in the first, they didn't score in the second. They scored in the third, they didn't score in the fourth. So maybe the fifth quarter is where we will see our next score. So we are now in overtime. And I'm thinking because we're playing in this era that we will play with the overtime rules that basically say first score wins. It's not like the modern NFL, so that if the offensive team gets a field goal, the defensive team will have one shot at a field goal or a touchdown. I believe first score wins. So Ron Martin and his Pittsburgh Steelers will take over at the 31. Boomer Esiason under center. Oh, yeah. So they're actually asking themselves the overtime rules. Unlimited overtime, missed field goals. So we're going to take a little break here. Thanks, man. Kama, do you know the answer to this question mark? Overtime question mark first score, or are we using modern day overtime question mark? I really can't tell by the I think you are right, and certainly hope so. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so we're going to get started here. We don't know exactly the rules on how overtime is going to work. I assume if we're playing in that era that it's first score wins, but I guess we won't know. I guess we won't truly know until somebody scores. And scoring has been a bit at a premium, so uh, who knows? We'll have to see if somebody scores on this first possession. But Pittsburgh's off to a nice start after that 8-yard gain. So it's now second down and 2. Oh boy. Yeah, so we're still not quite sure. I get really this possession is going to decide how overtime is played. So if Lincoln is able to stop Pittsburgh here, none of this is going to matter. But if Pittsburgh scores on this drive, uh, if they hit a field goal on this drive, we don't know exactly if this game is over or not. In the modern day, you're absolutely right. Field goal would not win it here. Again, if Pittsburgh is stopped, then none of this matters. Lincoln County basically can win it with anything. But if Pittsburgh gets a field goal as opposed to a touchdown, I guess we won't really know because we don't know the settings for this if we're playing with modern rules. And that is a first down for Pittsburgh. So they now have the ball at the 44-yard line, Steelers' own 44-yard line on that 6-yard reception, 5-yard reception. And that went to Largent, who has 4 catches for 51 yards today. Boomer is starting to pick it up a little bit, 13 for 35 for 138 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Pro set formation, that is, wow. Don't know who in the world that guy is. That's a fullback named Taylor, Craig Taylor. Here's a crossing pattern, defender X or 12, and he picks it up, and that is another first down. So into the Letterman territory go the Steelers. Pickup of 12 on the play. And there's that man, the guy we just said, Craig Taylor, catching a ball out of the backfield. Worley now has checked in this pro set formation. Like I said, this is your football cards come to life, but when I was growing up, every club basically had about 15 or 20. So the 40th and 45th members of your team didn't get football cards, so forgive me if I don't know who some of these people are. But they can't all be Joe Montana and Barry Sanders. Nice double team by the defense. So Esiason's flat pass is incomplete. It was intended for Holman, who's had a very quiet 2 for 36. Great double team by Lincoln County. Second down and 10. Ball at the 44. Just underway here in overtime. 6-6, Steelers and Lincoln County. This game started just a tick before 1 o'clock. We are now at 3 o'clock, so this is 2 hours. But it's been must-see TV for me. I've enjoyed this broadcast, but it's going to be a long one. For anybody that watches this in the future. Pro set formation, 3-4 now. Cook is showing blitz on this play. Here's a sweep right, and that's a pickup of 7. The defensive end was unable to make that play. Defensive end was a 4. White die was 5. So now it's 3rd and 3. So here is a super huge play in this game. If Pittsburgh converts, great. If not, are they in 4-down territory? How often do they find themselves this deep in Lincoln territory? I would have to think this is 4 down. Let's see if Lincoln chooses to run. The problem is they don't really have the backs to do so. Eric Ball has checked in. I'm thinking we are going to see a short pass to Largent here. I think Lincoln County is going to anticipate a run, and my guess is we're going to see a pass to Largent. and I was half right. That was to Holman. 4 men were in the zone. The pass ball's incomplete. And so it's decision time for Ron Martin. With the ball at the 37, I don't think there's a decision to be made here. I think you punt it. Well, that's 2 in a row. What do I know, right? So I'm supposed to do play-by-play, not color commentary. Let's let these guys play it out. So Tom sent a message just a moment ago saying he thinks it's modern day. So if Pittsburgh converts here, they still have the chance to put that tally on the board, yet we do not know if that score is going to put them into the finals or the Final Four or not. We really don't know. But let's just take it one play at a time here. 4th down and 3, pro set. That's Worley in the backfield with Visekahema. Esiason is checked in. I wonder if we see Esiason with a run. Here is a crossing pattern. Correctly double teamed, and Steve Largent unable to make the play. Nice call by Lincoln. And so now none of this overtime rule matters. Basically, we know for a fact that it is first score wins. Lincoln will take over at their own 37. Good field position here for the Letterman. Yep. Tom says his defense has been very strong today, and he absolutely is correct. So the Letterman will take over. Okoye with a big run on that last drive. Gone away from throwing deep and has been running the ball a little bit more with some success. So that's Craig and Okoye in the backfield. Under center is Testaverde. 1st and 10, ball at the 37. We're just a couple of minutes into overtime. Two quality coaches in Ron Martin and Tom Cook, veteran coaches, absolutely know what they're doing. That's what makes this league so great. There's so many very, very even teams. The way our draft format takes place, the snake draft. I mean, sometimes you get some bad drafts, some personnel, mismatches that just absolutely don't work. But for the most part, these teams are relatively even. So it's coach versus coach. And that's why so many of these games truly are a coin flip. It's nice to have that home field advantage. So that can help a little bit. Here's a run up the middle for Okoye. Guessed wrong. He picks up 5 on the play. It's now 2nd down and 5. Ball at the 42. Again, the pro set. Ron Martin's been alternating between the 4-3 and the 3-4. This time he's with the 3-4. So that nose tackle is now a 5 instead of a 4. Which we could go on and on about that. How in the world a nose tackle 5 turns magically into a 4 when they're a defensive tackle? Sorry, I just can't make any sense out of that. But that's the rules. Maybe Tom will have a word with our good friends at Stratomatic here when they have that broadcast with Glenn Guzzo. There's a nice pickup of 6 on the play, and that's a 1st down for Roger Craig, his 6th carry of the game. And Lincoln now has the ball at the 48-yard line. As we are in overtime, Ron Martin's Pittsburgh Steelers unable to score on their first drive. So at this point, whoever puts points on the board will win. There's a 3-yard run for Okoye. So it's 2nd down and 7. Okoye now with 23 carries for 131 yards. He really picked it up in the second half. And he has plenty of carries left, 10 unfatigued carries. So certainly Ron Martin has to be on the lookout for that. 2nd down and 7. As Lincoln County now is in Pittsburgh territory at the 49. Here is a deep shot, and oh, wow, the timing. Mercy. A sack for Pittsburgh. And now they're backed up all the way to their own 40, 3rd and 18. So the worst of timing on that play. Lincoln was really starting to put together some momentum on that drive. They decided to go deep. Defense called pass, sent enough pressure to take Testaverde down for, I believe, the 6th time. 6th or 7th time in this game. So now it's 3rd down and 18 with the ball at the 40. So here is a conservative call. It's a run up the middle. It'll be a pickup of 5, and that'll bring up 4th and 13, and a familiar refrain from this game, another punt. So let's see if he can continue to have some good kicks here. He hasn't really shanked anything that's made any sort of a difference, but Sikahema is a great return man. So let's see where Pittsburgh winds up with this. Ron Martin sends a message that says he has to leave at 6 p.m. Well, let's hope we're not playing for another 3 hours. Mercy sakes. And there is your shanked kick. It only goes 34 yards. Sikahema will field this one at the 21, but it's a fair catch. So no harm, no foul. Probably not a shank kick, but certainly a less than average kick. But as you can see on those readings, 10 is a 34, 11 is a 30, 12 is a 19. So there's some damage there, no doubt, if you're not careful. So 1st and 10, Ron Martin will take over at his own 21. 8 minutes to go here in the 3rd. Here's a pass attempt that falls incomplete. It was intended for, Sikahema out of the backfield. So 14 of 40 now for Esiason for only 140 yards. So Tom Cook asked for a break. So we'll take a break. Okay, back at it. 2nd down and 10. Ball at the 21 for Pittsburgh. Defense lines up 3-3-5. Countering this pro set. So there is a run on the play. That's 4 yards for Tim Worley. That's 12 carries for 29 for him. Now it's 3rd down and 6. Ball at the 25-yard line for Pittsburgh. 3 wide set. And this broadcast is still going. This is starting to resemble a telethon, not a football game. All right, 3rd and 6. 3-3-5 set. 3 wide. Shotgun. That is Sekahema to the right of Esiason, who's ready to take this snap. Foreman in the zone. That pass falls incomplete, and Pittsburgh once again will turn the ball back over to Lincoln County. Reggie Roby back there, one of the premier punters of the 80s and early 90s. Ron Martin comments, he says he's in trouble. I don't know what he's basing that on. Especially after this great kick. Look at that, 53 yards. He's flipped the field and no return. So tack on another 8 on top of that. Ron Martin, you are not in trouble. Instead, you've totally flipped the field from north to south, or east to west, I guess would be more correct. And we now have the ball at the 17. Lincoln County will take over at their own 17-yard line. The Letterman and Pittsburgh knotted at 6. Usually time in overtime would not be a factor, but there is 6:36 remaining here in this overtime. And I believe at the end of the first overtime, I believe they have another kickoff, if I recall. I don't think they just drift right off into the second overtime. So 4 wide set. Okoye in the backfield. Here is a sideline pass that falls incomplete. And it's now 2nd down and 10. Pro set for Lincoln County, 4-3 for Pittsburgh. And here comes a pass to one of their backs, and it's good for 13 yards. That pass is completed to Roger Craig. And that takes the ball out to the 30. Well, Jay Billing had sent a note during this game. I apparently am losing my eyesight or losing my marbles or both, or I'm losing the ability to count. I have no idea why I thought that long pass guessed right would be that many units for Vinny Testaverde. I was completely wrong on that. I just looked at his card just a moment ago. So, Tom, don't thrash me when you hear this broadcast. Just ignore it. That was a pickup of 6 on the play for Okoye, who now has 142 yards. Big yards for the Nigerian Nightmare. So now it's 3rd and 4. And that pass, oh, wait, what? Oh, I'm sorry, it was 2nd and 4, my bad. So now it's 3rd and 4. I'm starting to lose focus in this game. This has been going on for quite some time. So I admire two coaches who have hung in there like they have. So it's 3rd and 4. Ball at the 36. So what are we going to see here? I wouldn't be surprised to see a run. Wouldn't at all be surprised to see a run up the middle. Maybe Ron Martin moves that 6 over into the. Well, they're bringing a lot of heat. It is an off-tackle draw run, and that play is stopped. A loss of 1 on the play, and it's now 4th and 5. Average kick of 42 yards. Sikahema with the return. And he's going to pick up some nice yards. So he will allow Pittsburgh to take over at their own 37-yard line. So there's 3:54 here to go in the first overtime. Get some water here while they're making another call. So a nice call from Lincoln County as Vi Sikahema is pulled down in the backfield for a loss of 5 on the play. So guessed right. Oh, wow. Look at that. -5. That's a very poor card. In a lot of trouble if you're guessed right with Sikahema. So Pittsburgh felt like they had the wrong formation out for that set, so they will call timeout. 3:18 to go here in the first overtime, and I say the first because who knows, we could be headed for another one. Game knotted at 6. So shotgun formation here. So Worley has now moved over to Sikahema's spot. And we see Craig Taylor enter the game at fullback. He has a catch in this game. So Worley is now the running back. Sikahema has replaced Sikahema, and we now have Taylor in at fullback. 3-3-5 for the defense here. And here comes a slant pass to Holman, and it is good for 16 yards as the white die reading came up there. He's defended by a 4. White die 5, so Holman drags defenders all the way to the Pittsburgh 49, so that is a first down for the Steelers. As we are coming up on 2:42 here in overtime. Lincoln County and Pittsburgh knotted at 6. And now Lincoln County calls timeout. So they didn't like their formation. So again, 1st and 10, ball at the 49. Steelers and Letterman. 6 apiece here. 12 minutes into overtime number 1. Pro set. Here's a crossing pattern to Worley, but the pass falls incomplete. Maybe Ron Martin was anticipating a blitz there. And an unguarded Worley. It's now 2nd down and 10. .224 left in overtime. But this game will continue until we have a score. Pro set again. Now Sikahema's checked back into the game. Shotgun formation. Here's an end run for Esiason. He will pick up 5 on the play. That is the last end run for Esiason. So the Cincinnati Bengals signal caller. 4 carries for 17 yards, but that will be his last end run of the game. So a big play here. 3rd down and 5 with the ball at the 46. Can Lincoln County hold again? Pro set. That's Worley and Sikahema back there, along with Rodney Holman, Largent, and Benny Blades. Okay, 3rd and 5. Pro set formation. That's Esiason under center. And Lincoln County counters with a 3-3-5. 6-5-6 across linebacker row. So you don't see much of an opportunity there for a flat pass. You got 4 men in the short pass zone. He does have a 4 deep. You got 4s guarding Holman. You have a 4 guarding Largent. So those would be your 2 targets. And there's a pass to Sikahema. It's a deep shot, but falls incomplete. It was on the defensive card with an interception 2, 3, 4, and 11. So Lincoln County will hold once again. Roby takes the field. 4th and 5, ball at the 46. We will not see a fake here. And he's going to pin him deep again. Nice job by Roby. This time the kick will land at the 11-yard line. So Lincoln County has it with 1:45 to go. In this first overtime. Okoye and Craig in the backfield behind Vinny. Clark and Johnson are your wideouts. So it's 3:28 Eastern time. We have now hit 2.5 hours on this game. Here is a slant pass, and it's good for 14 yards. to Jonathan Hayes, his second catch of the game. And it's 1st and 10 for Lincoln County with the ball at the 25-yard line. So out of the shadows of their own end zone, 1:15 to go here in overtime. Four wide set. Not seeing this offense quite as often as we did in the first half. That's Roger Craig in the backfield next to Vinny Testaverde. Here's an inside run. It's guessed wrong, but Craig only picks up a yard. It's now 2nd down and 9. Broadcast is still going strong, looks like. 2nd down and 9. So now we got an I formation. That's Okoye and Roger Craig in there. Defense counters 4-3. Inside run for Craig. And that's a pickup of 9. So move the chains once again. And so Lincoln County will choose at this point to call timeout. So 37 seconds to go here in this first overtime. So it looks like if Pittsburgh's going to win this, they're going to have to wait till the next overtime. Quarter number 5. Pro set. Lincoln with 1 timeout remaining. Here comes a deep shot for Johnson, and he catches it. He catches it. So Johnson finally, with the reception, defender unable to make the play, and that moves the ball all the way to the 38-yard line of Pittsburgh. They're going to try to hurry this one up. So 15 seconds on a running clock. I'm stealing this from Tom Cook. Tick, 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 tick. He wants to preserve that timeout for a potential game-winning field goal. But a huge pass from Vinny Testaverde, but probably more appropriately, a nice catch from Johnson. And that was his 3rd catch for 40 yards. Vinny now 14 of 30 for 146. So a 27-yard reception has changed the complexion of this game. Here's an inside run for Roger Craig, but he stopped after 1 yard, and that's going to force Lincoln to call. Well, wait a minute. Okay. So I guess, all right. Well, all right. So now I understand what's going on here. They may have called timeout just to preserve. Maybe it was an incorrect play. I thought a timeout was called because once you go to the 6th overtime, you get a new field goal or you get a new kickoff. But apparently that's not the case. You just keep playing. So the clock doesn't even matter. So 2nd overtime, 3rd overtime, this doesn't matter. It's first score wins. And so 2nd down and 9. With the ball at the Pittsburgh 37. Here's another off-tackle run. Defense guesses pass. And that is a pickup of 3. So here is your ball game, basically. 3rd and 6. Ball at the 34. Looking at a 51-yard field goal from here. Not ideal, but makeable. So does Tom Cook decide to run just to get a few extra yards? Because, again, a 51-yard field goal, that's asking a lot. But if you can get inside of 23 to 32, that could make a difference. So maybe we see an off-tackle draw here to Okoye. I can't imagine Pittsburgh calling run here. That'd be very gutsy, knowing full well that a completed pass would almost certainly lead to a good enough field position for a much easier field goal that would win the game. So great minds, great stratomatic minds, both trying to get in each other's heads. Here's a quick out pass. Double team. Great call. Great call. So a double team. Tight end Jonathan Hayes. That was an excellent call. Tom Cook salutes him on that call. So we are looking at a 51-yard field goal for Chris Barr. And the odds of that are not good. 2, 3, and 4. Is he going to give this a shot, or is he going to go for it here on fourth down? Now I'm starting to wonder if maybe he'll go for it here. So great call by Ron Martin, who wasn't tempted to call run and instead went with his instincts. Not only did he get past, but he correctly double-teamed a tight end that is little used, using those Jedi mind tricks here. 4th and 6, and I think correctly, Tom Cook is going to go for it. The odds are pretty long of converting a 4th and 6, obviously, but if you lose here, what do you lose? You're basically at the 34-yard line, barring a sack or something completely catastrophic. I cannot see a possible way that he could run this ball here. So where is this throw going to go? I mean, if you're double teaming Jonathan Hayes, I think you could pretty much. Oh, look at this. He's going to try for a run. He is going to try for a pitch, and he is stopped for no gain, and Pittsburgh will take over here in the second overtime. Clock doesn't matter. We're just basically going until there is a score. So we are knotted at 6 with the ball at the 34. Both running backs have been pretty awful today, but if it matters, 8 carries are left for Tim Worley and 5 for Vi Sikahema. Esiason, as you can see with that red circle, can't run around the end anymore. Here's a screen pass. Guess wrong. Complete 14 yards and a first down to Vi Sikahema. So I didn't quite catch what the call was there. I don't know if he was there was a blitzer there in that play that made that guess wrong, or 0 men in the zone, or he just happened to hit a vacated zone. Here's a completion for 4 yards to Brian Blades, who, of course, has been very quiet. He's been pretty much blanketed by a 6 for the entire afternoon. That's his 4th catch, 25 yards. 46th attempt for Boomer Esiason. He has 17 completions. With that catch, Pittsburgh has made their way into Lincoln territory. So I'm not sure if we're seeing a Strat football game or McEnroe and Connors, because back and forth this game goes. This is like Wimbledon, and we're stuck at deuce. There's a nice run. Good pickup. I have 8 yards on the play for Tim Worley. That's probably his biggest carry of the game. But more importantly, that puts the ball at the 40. So now we see Pittsburgh starting to march into potential field goal territory. Early on in the game, however, Pete Stoyanovich missed a long field goal. He does not have a good leg from deep. So if Ron Martin can figure out a way to get 2 first downs, which that's easier said than done, if he can figure out a way to find 2 first downs on this drive and give Stoyanovich a better shot, we may finally put this one to bed. Here's an off-tackle run. Defense guesses pass. That's only a pickup of 2 on the play for Eric Ball, who has checked in. 6 carries for 17 yards for the Cincinnati Bengals. 2nd down and 8. Pro set, we got Worley, who stayed in the game. So Warren Williams has now checked into the game. I haven't seen him very much. 3-3-5 set, pro set formation, 3-3-5 defensively. Might we see another run here? Crossing pattern that is good for 15 yards as Esiason hits Largent for his 5th reception. And now things are looking pretty good for Pittsburgh here with the ball at the 23. It's now 1st and 10. And again, Stoyanovich on the sideline warming up. Right now, we're looking at a 40-yard field goal, but if he can get inside of the 23, which you'd think he'd have a decent shot at doing, it's going to give Stoyanovich a much better chance of hitting this. As I recall, his 23 to 32 is 2 through 6, 11, and 12. Here's a quick slant pass, and that one is caught, and it's good for 11 yards. Another first down, this time to Rodney Holman, his 4th reception of 63 yards. And so Esiason has crossed over the 210-yard mark, but more importantly, Pittsburgh has crossed over the 20-yard line. They now have made their way to the 12. And so Ron Martin has to be thinking at this point, let's see how close we can get it inside of, well, actually at the 12, he could kick it here, and this thing would be over. We would have the variable field goal in play, but Ron may just choose to kick it here. He's probably looking at his kicker right now to make that determination. So will they trot Stoyanovich in for a 29-yarder, or will they try to get it a little bit closer? So here comes the pro set formation. Esiason under center. That's Worley in the backfield with Sikahema. Defense in the 3-4. So Pittsburgh has their ticket out and is ready for it to be punched for their chance to play in the Summer Sprint Final Four. Things are looking pretty good that they will be team number 3. Ohio and Seattle already are in tonight. The winner of Chico's and Wisconsin will be the last of the Final Four. Worley is in there with Sikahema. Ball is at the 10. 27-yard field goal from this point. Tom Cook hoping for a fumble. Calls a timeout here on this play. Actually, Ron Martin calls a timeout on this play. He's not going to mess around anymore. Stoyanovich comes on to kick a 27-yard field goal, and it is through, and the marathon game has ended. 80-minute ball game. It took 2 hours and 40 minutes of real time. And there we have it. And tell me why the Dunedin score came up, and I'll pay you a nickel. Wow, okay. So there is your final score. Very well played, very evenly played. 2 great clubs. The home team comes out on top 9-6. We will take a look at the box score here. 16 first downs for Lincoln County, 15 for Pittsburgh, very even there. Yards per play, Lincoln County only 3.8, Pittsburgh only 3.4. 168-yard rushing to 84 for Pittsburgh. Yards per pass, 4.6, 4.4. Look at this, so close. Time of possession, relatively close. The sacks. So Testaverde was sacked 6 times. Lincoln County got in there 3 times. Testaverde finished 14 of 31 for 146 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Esiason, 48 throws, 19 for 48 for 210. Okoye, a big game, slow start, but 146 yards total for the game on 26 carries. Roger Craig added 23. No real running star, as you can see. 37 yards led Pittsburgh. Roger Craig with 6 catches for 55 yards. Steve Largent, a nice game, 5 catches for 66 yards. 4 catches for 63 yards for Rodney Holman. 11 punts. Look at that. 11 punts for each club. A couple of sacks there for Lee Williams. No interceptions for each club. So that's pretty much it. So what you see is what you get. First quarter, field goals exchanged for both clubs. Third quarter, both clubs exchanged field goals once again, and into overtime we go. And finally, Stojanovic puts it away with a 27-yard field goal, his third of the game. So Ron Martin, congratulations to you. Your 11-6 club has gotten wrangled the third ticket, the golden ticket, if you will, to Summer Sprint in the 1989 championship. Congratulations to Lincoln County, who finished 10-8 on the season. So Tom Cook, congratulations to you. And Ron Martin, you are moving on. So that means we have one game left, and Tom Cook will be bringing that game to you tonight at 8 o'clock. And that will feature Chico's bail bondsman taking on the Wisconsin Badgers. That's Jay Villing locking up with Butch. And we all will be tuning in for that this evening. I'll wait to see if Tom is going to join me for this. He may need a nap, as would I. So all the rest of our broadcast partners have left. So I'll wait to see if he wants to come on board. So I'm going to send Tom a note to see if he wants to come talk to us. So that means Seattle Seahawks at 15-3 will have their choice between Ohio University, who now stands at 13-5, Pittsburgh, who stands at 12-6, I believe, and their choice of Chico bail bondsman. If Chico's wins tonight, they will be 13-5. If Wisconsin wins tonight, they will be 9-8, plus they won a playoff game, so that'll make them 10-8. That would make them 11-8. And both of those two are high-quality coaches. So you might want to throw the records out at that point. Okay, so Tom has mentioned to me that he would like to come on board and talk to us. So if everybody will hold just a moment, I will get that link over to him. So it looks like Tom is going to join us here momentarily. And if Ron Martin would like to come on board, I'd be happy to talk to him as well. I don't know if he listens much to these broadcasts or not.
What's up, Michael?
Hey, oh God, I'm worn out. That was quite a game.
Ron Martin was concerned that he didn't know you were calling it. So at the end, he said, "Good thing no one is calling it. They would have fallen asleep." Did you have trouble staying awake there, Michael?
No, I love this time. I did not. It was fascinating, frankly. I like to watch these kind of games just like you do as well. I think it was like basically in the broadcast I said this was like Connors and McEnroe basically.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I live in Flushing, Queens, which is the home of the U.S. Open Tennis Center, now Authorized Stadium and all that stuff.
Sure.
I'm about a mile away from the former Shea Stadium, now City Field.
Okay.
But what's going on here?
Yeah.
But that was a great game. That was a tremendous game. I mean, we almost played 2 full quarters, right?
Right.
Oh no, he
right.
won. No, he won 9 minutes in. Okay.
Yep. 5
almost
minutes.
A quarter, double overtime. Yeah, I thought it was a great game. I thought it went either way. Anybody could have won it. I felt like, I don't think either one. I don't think anyone got any really bad breaks. If anything, I felt like he had more opportunities on like some long pass zero men right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe against a 4 defender. He caught me in that a few times, and he wasn't hitting them. My strong safety 4 saved a long game one occasion. I felt like he had much more of those opportunities than I did. I had like one long pass wrong early to Vinny, but there was a guy there. Otherwise, I really didn't get any long pass wrong opportunities or long pass one man with a zero, hardly.
Right.
I felt like every time I dropped back to throw a short pass, I got sacked by the regular pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't safety blitzing me. I probably could have run the ball more early on, but ultimately I did run the ball 37 times and passed it 32.
Mm-hmm.
I started running the ball more, I think, in the fourth quarter and in the overtime. I mean, he missed a field goal. It was only 2, 6, 11, and 12, but he missed a field goal in the first half. I got a 57-yard kick return. I'll tell you, when I got that long pass in the overtime for 27 yards, I think it was to
Vance Johnson, or the Denver guy, wasn't it?
No, Richard Levon Johnson. It's the guy, the Detroit Richard Levon, the famous Richard Levon Johnson. I thought I was going to win when I got there. And then when I got to, I think I had 2nd and 4 at his 34 in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, all right, well, look, none of our kickers are great, including mine. He's 2 to 7, 11 to 12 out to the 32. I felt like I was going to at least get 3 yards or so,
right,
and have a chance at the game-winning field goal. And I didn't get it. I think I threw a flat pass. I think I threw flat passes incomplete there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a great call on the 3rd and 6. I threw a flat pass to my tight end, Jonathan Hayes, who I almost never throw to.
Yeah,
he's never good. Yeah. And he correctly double teamed him. That was the only double team on that play, and he correctly double teamed it. Would have been receiver. We don't know what would have happened, but it would have been a receiver reading guess right. So decent chance there for a first down or for a few yards to then try a game-winning field goal. So it was a great game. I mean, I felt very confident in my defense coming in. Boomer hit a couple of long pass rights on his card. That was a little frustrating, but ultimately, he really didn't. Look, neither of us went anywhere, really.
Well, no. What I noticed was that I think he should be commended for, especially defensively. I lost count. At least 5 possessions that he had the ball basically somewhere between the 40s. He had great field position. It seemed like on nearly half of his possessions, basically, with short fields, and still was only able to, in those drives, basically, I think he got a field goal only out of one of them. The other 2 scores he had to earn, but he had 5 times at least that I could recall that he was around the 45, his own 45, or inside of or somewhere around your 40, basically, and was really only able to come up with 1 field goal. So I always felt like you were on your heels, but not only did you not bend, you never broke, never anything, basically, to hold that team to that, and especially in the circumstances. It was very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. He was killing me on field position, and part of that is, he was, first half especially, I was playing the Byron's ball, which is what this team is kind of designed to play an offense.
Right.
And if you play Byron's ball and you're launching those bombs and you're hitting any bombs, you could go 3 and out a lot, and field position can be a problem. If you're playing in this era where the punters aren't as good and the returners are pretty decent. A lot of those times those are going to be 30-yard net punts. So,
that's right.
I mean, if you look at it, according to the ball possession chart, I started with the ball at my 23. He started the ball at his 35, and he started like you said. If you look at the drive began, you got Pittsburgh 43, Pittsburgh 47, Pittsburgh 48, Lincoln 43, Lincoln 41.
Mm-hmm.
In the first half, he hit the ball 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. He started the drive between the 40s,
Yeah. And he shut him down. Basically, only 1 score out of all of those.
Yeah, he had 1 field goal there to my 21. Well, And then the second half, it wasn't as bad, but he had some. Pittsburgh 46, Pittsburgh 41, Pittsburgh 38 wasn't as bad partly because they started running the ball more instead of just launching. And so I would get maybe a first down at least before punting. But I had a lot of confidence in my offense, in my defense against his offense. My defense played great all year. I think they were number 2 in the league in scoring. Would have been number 1 if Rick Barnes didn't put up 29 on me in the finale, which annoyed me because I wanted to beat you out there for the number 1, Michael. Like Dennis will tell you, stats are very important. Just teasing. Dennis, I like looking at stats. Dennis likes to tease because I like looking at stats, and he says stats don't matter. But it was, so I was on my heels there. And the first time I played him, I'd been in the regular season 29-15. I had a lot of bombs in the first half. It was 29-15. It wasn't even that close. But I was killing him with my punt returner. I have Walter Stanley, who's a very good punt returner, but he has a fumble on 10, okay?
Right.
He had a fumble on 10, but 6 is 27 yards, okay? And he's got some other good returns, like plus 18, plus 11. And Ron's opponent return is not that great. So I was killing him in the first game. I must have got like 2 or 3 27-yarders on the punt return. You're only punting at 43 yards, so that's a real killer. So I'm not sure if you noticed, but he was punting out of bounds the whole game. Did you catch that?
Yes, I did notice that actually. I found that kind of funny. I didn't get a chance to see who your return man was, but I noticed that not just the ones where he coffin kicked or tried to pin you between the 20. I mean, like every one of them, he decided to kick them that way. I just thought, who is your return man that he would be so scared of?
Yeah, all right. Well, in the first game, he only had 2 returns for 54 yards. Okay, so it wasn't as many as I thought. But he hit the 27-yarder each time. But he felt like, look, if I do a coffin corner punt, I'm probably going to get about a 33-yard net. If I do the regular punt, it might be like, it might be only 16 yards, or it might be only like 17 yards. Maybe only 16 to 25 yards if Tom gets a decent return. So I'm just going to coffin corner it, which I thought was interesting. The flip side of that is he did not give himself a chance for any punt return fumbles because my guy has a fumble on 10. And really, to be honest, I felt like I was getting. We talked about breaks. For the most part, I felt like I was getting very fortunate when I was punting to him because Faisika was okay, but he's got like a plus 23-yarder on like a 9 or a 10 or something, and like a plus 11 or something on a 4 and a 5, and then my 7, 8, and 12 is not very good, and he was not really getting top-notch returns for a lot of the game, So like I said, the game could have gone either way. I probably could have run the ball a little more, but I ran the ball a lot. I mean, Ron played a good game. I mean, I like my defense against him, but I like my defense against him, and I thought that I would run enough to get a couple of long pass opportunities that hit 1 or 2, and then I could win that way, And I threw a ton of bombs. I didn't get any. I didn't get it picked off either. I mean, all the bombs I threw, holding incompletions, holding an interception. Something should have happened, how can I say? Ron played a real strong game. He's a very good coach. I think he's more suited for this style than he is in the modern game. I'm not saying he's a bad coach in the modern game, but some guys do better in one rule set or the other.
Right. And
Ron stayed with it, and my defense played tremendously, but you can't stay out there all day. Wow. His longest drive was 38 yards until the final one, and and look at that. My longest drive was only 49 yards until my final possession. I went 55 yards. I got to his 34,
right?
And that's what he thought. I think it was before his final punt that he said he thought he was in trouble. He was punting from his own 20, 30. No, okay, it must have been in the middle of the first overtime. There was 2 overtimes. He was punting from his own 21. He said, now I'm in trouble, but he got like a 53-yarder with like a 6-yard roll because he did not go coffin corner there,
right?
Because there wasn't enough time yet. So I ended up starting at my own 17.
17, I remember it.
If I had gotten like a 43-yard punt with a 10-yard return, like a 33-yard thing, which would have been kind of like a normal thing, I would have had the ball like my own 46. But instead, it went the other way, and he got on the right side of the field position. So then I had the ball on my own 11. I drove and had best 34. Maybe if a few yards here or there on the field position before that, maybe I could have cracked just 32 and tried to field goal. You can't think of it that way, but it's possible.
Right.
But it was a great game, I thought, and Ron played a great game. He had some opportunities for some long pass. Always right. I didn't get in this rule set, Michael. If I have a good defensive team, you are almost never going to see me call run and vacate the long pass. I do not like giving up long pass, wrong, no men in this rule set in this era, because if you have a good defense and you play a solid defense, it's difficult for someone to score a lot of points against you, to get touchdowns, And a lot of people will tell you that in this rule set, the big play is king. So if the big play is king, I was like, well, let me play defense to try and prevent the big play. So I'm saying as if I won. I mean, I lost the game,
right?
But I wasn't really worried about his running game at all. I like the math for his running game. Like his best running plays gets wrong, which should have averaged like 4.4 yards a carry. I was worried about Boomer's 2 end runs. I know those would come in sooner or later, but look, these leagues, this league, Summer Sprint, Battle Royale, these leagues are set up. Everyone's going for the year. Everyone's got at least a pretty good team. Certainly when you get in the playoffs, everyone has at least a pretty good team. There's a lot of very good coaches. Ron's a good coach. He coached a very good game. I thought I coached a fine game. I've nothing to complain about there. And when you have two good teams, two good coaches, and like the breaks aren't crazy either way, it's just going to come down to a close game. Anybody can win. I got to 34, 2nd and 4. All I needed was like 3 or 4 more yards, and I can try 2-7 on field goal, 2-7 on field goal to win in the overtime. I couldn't get those yards, and then he got the ball, hits one flat pass wrong, bang, 14 yards, and he's around midfield, and then he got going from there. So it was a great game, and I'll be calling the game tonight. So what we got left now is we got Dennis is alive, the 1 seed. You're alive, the 2 seed. We got Jay, the 3 seed, playing against Wisconsin tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll be calling that game.
Yep.
And then we have Ron has already advanced.
Yep.
So 3 teams with 11+ wins have advanced. And tonight you got a 12-5 team versus a 9-8 team.
Yeah.
So if Jay wins, you'll have 4 of the top 5 seeds having advanced. So we'll see.
We'll see. Dennis will. We'll see what Dennis is going to think. I'm guessing if Wisconsin wins tonight, that's probably who he'll play. Go
ahead.
I think if Jay wins tonight, then it's probably going to be me and Dennis. I would think that's my guess. And then
you never know. I think Dennis has a healthy respect for your defense. Ron doesn't have any running game, so Dennis might like his chances against a team that's a little more one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
He might feel like your team is a little annoying to play against because you're going to run it with guys who aren't that great, but they're okay. You're going to throw a lot of flat passes. I'm not sure, but again, you're more an experienced coach, so we'll see. Butch usually plays Dennis pretty tough, so he might not go for Butch. I don't know. I think he'd be more likely to go for Ron Martin than for Butch, but we'll see. But he might choose you. Good luck. You're inexperienced, right?
Yeah.
Your first semifinal, Mike, right?
No, I'm excited. Yeah. That's why I'm thinking probably just not from a personnel standpoint, but just from a coaching standpoint. We'll see. We'll see.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you're in the semifinals. You're further than I did. I bowed out in the round of 8, but I'll remember this game a long time.
Yeah.
I played double overtime, 9-6 game with about 22 combined punts and no turn. It was 9-6, no turnovers.
Yes. Yeah.
It was.
Well, this game was confusing to me. Number one, because the rule set, you're kind of trying to figure out. Now in your mind, I told Jay Billing was texting back and forth with me, and we were both saying, do we know if this is like the modern rules, or is this like the first scorer is going to win, or how's this going to work? And then I said, you know what? They're both going to go 3 and out. So what difference does it make?
That's right.
And he laughed. I said, yeah, I'm not going to say that to them, but I'll say it to him later on.
You can say it. After we punt 20 times, you can say it.
Well, right. But the other thing was, and I'm a little embarrassed about this, was, okay, so there's like a minute left to go in the first overtime.
Yes.
We're down to like 37 seconds. And you got a first down, and then you called timeout, but it was because I think you had like the wrong formation in. I thought you were trying to preserve time. I couldn't tell exactly why the time was called, and I thought, I know why. Because when this ends, then we're going to kick it off again. I'd forgotten that there's no such thing as time in overtime. It could take 12 overtimes. It wouldn't even matter. There's no
you and Donovan McNabb, Michael.
Yes,
remember, he didn't know the overtime was.
That's twice now I've embarrassed myself.
Don't feel embarrassed, because it's a Stratomatic game. I knew what the NFL rule was. It's sudden death overtime. You keep playing. I'm not sure if it would be a stoppage after the second one. I don't recall followed by a kickoff. I don't believe so. You keep playing in playoff overtime. But Ron had gone like nickel or something, and looked like he was like a little worried about the clock or whatever. Like he was gonna let me run, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure it's gonna keep going.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't need these overtime timeouts, to preserve the clock.
Right.
I'll save one in case of like some formation gaffe.
Correct.
But I was like, let me just, what the hell? Let me call timeout just in case. So it's kind of a just in case timeout. And also it was a little bit of gamesmanship where I was like, you know what, maybe if I call timeout, he's going to think that I think that we're almost out of time.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna call pass, and I can, and then I can run the next couple of plays. So it was awesome. So it was partly like, I'm pretty sure that also it's strat, and it's also strat. So I don't know if the game was buggy.
Yeah.
So part of it was a strat, but part of it was, you know what? I called timeout. He was already going nickel. I called timeout. It's like a minute left or 45 seconds left at that point. Like maybe he thinks that I think we're out of time, and I'm gonna start bombing. So then I can run easily, and I had a good drive. I had a good drive there. I had a good drive on that possession, considering. So
you know what? To me, while you didn't win the game, I think you still won in a way. I think you fooled everybody on that. That's great strategy. That's great strategy.
Yes, I won. I won by losing. No, I didn't win. Ron and I both, I think, coach really, really well. I love this type of game. Like in this format, like Michael, I told you last year, we talked about the 45-minute coaching session. We had 2 sessions, but the second one was longer. In this rule set, if you have like a good pass defense, and then even more if you're like good, you can stand around a lot and cover your weaknesses, and you'll be good to go. I mean, it's hard to get a lot of offense going against a team that does that. It just is. It just is.
That's why I like this club, because it's not only a good run and a good pass. You can stand around and you don't have to blitz too many people because you got a front four that basically without any effort whatsoever can get to the quarterback. So that's a nice.
Yeah. You're still gonna get your occasional sack without even trying.
Right.
Most guys aren't going to have a 7 pass blocker blocking your asterisk like Brian had this morning with Craig Hayward. Most guys are at 5 or less. So that 7 on the asterisk really hurts you as the 4-3 pass blocking team with downline asterisks. But a lot of guys have guys no better than a 3 or 4, which is much more palatable for you. So, So I know the rule set well. I mean, I played a ton of games, dice and cards back in the 80s, which is when this rule set is from, pretty much. But it was great, and I'm sure Ron has as well as all kinds of other guys. So was Jay listening to the broadcast or watching, or was he listening? Okay.
Jay and Mike both were.
Yeah, it was an epic one, double overtime.
Sure was.
So, all right, Michael. I guess we'll wrap it up here, and I'll go have a consolation. What can I have? I don't think we have any cupcakes. What can I have? I don't know. I'll find some consolation food,
I just want to have food. All right, I haven't had anything.
There you go.
Because I sure don't want to mar the broadcast by chewing on anything. That's the last thing we want.
There you go. and you end up with a. So let me ask you something before you go, because you're starving. Did you enjoy calling this incredibly close defensive game with like a lot of punting?
Yes, I had a great time.
Yeah, I like these games partly because, especially when 2 coaches are going out, they're good defenses. You see, like there's a lot of strategy there, and one big play makes a big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I'm not going to send this broadcast to Fox Sports. It wasn't one of the better ones, but I enjoyed it. I'm glad. I would have had fun if anybody was broadcasting this game. I love this kind of stuff. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nail biter. The one play, one jacked turnover, something's going to turn this game around, and you want to wait for it. And this is playoffs, man. This is a big deal. So yes, I loved it, enjoyed it.
I got that 57-yard kick return from Mel Gray. I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah,
I'm in business,
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
All right, Michael, I'll see you later. I'll be calling the 8 o'clock game in case you're listening or whatever.
All right, buddy. You take care, man. Thanks.
Take care. Thanks for calling the game.
Thanks,
later.
Man. Bye-bye. All right, well, that is your final score. So congratulations to Pittsburgh and Ron Martin, and they will be moving into the Final Four. So we have Pittsburgh, we have Ohio and Seattle, and we will wait for tonight to find the winner between Wisconsin and Chico's bail bondsman. That'll be called tonight at 8 o'clock. By Tom Cook. So congratulations to both of these coaches. This was an epic game. 9-6, your final score. And so this is Michael Reeves signing off. Good afternoon, good evening. God bless, and have a great day.